Hello, we're Adam and Brianne, and welcome to our part two of shining a light on autism.
Mhm.
And today is going to be a little bit more of a personal story,
Mhm.
just to kind of going in from the last part, the other part we started with was kind of like an introduction to autism, and now it's kind of like a bit of the personal story, and then we'll dive into different topics after
Yeah.
that. So, well, we can do the disclaimers first again. We're not medical professionals. Everyone with autism is very different. It's a spectrum. And of course, we're not going to be covering everything because, that would be very extensive. Yeah. All right. So, let's get into it. So, Adrian is 19. He was diagnosed
Well,
with,
who is Adrian? Because someone first watching this,
well, he's
you
our
know,
son,
yes.
basically. Yeah. All right, so he was diagnosed as 4 pretty late, but of course there was a lot of stuff happening before that. You could see even as a baby he was showing signs of things. From when he was born, a lot of issues with his stomach, which can be normal for people with autism, may or may not. He was a very happy kid unless he had like some problems with his stomach and stuff like that. Very happy, but he also didn't react to his name, or we know when you were clapping, trying to get his attention, he was kind of like off in his own world. And you could see the same thing when he was playing in kindergarten. He was kind of just like either aimlessly walking around. He could sit in the sandbox, but he wouldn't play like the other kids. He would just do things, kind of like to stimulate his senses in a sense, like with the sand and everything. And
Mm.
he had issues touching the sand as well. A lot of issues with different textures and stuff like that, and uh, s- stacking toys, putting them in rows, just laying down and driving back and forth with the cars or trains.
Thomas the Train.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Okay.
Man, we've been on that route for like almost 20 years now, along with Teletubbies, big thing. So, and of course, I presented my, concerns to like the healthcare professionals. But they were like, it's normal. And but the kindergarten also started to get a bit like, okay, there's something um, not right here.
Mhm.
Um, and he had, some words before he was like 18 months. He could speak a little bit, and but then he just everything just lost it. No words, which also can be normal with autism.
Mm.
So then it was just a lot of and reaching for things and kind of like very much like a big difference basically. And we had different instances, like I don't know what you would call it, like people coming to assess him in kindergarten, and everyone was pretty, you know, much on the same page on what it may be. But it took a couple of years before he was diagnosed because long process and all these things. Yeah, I also wanted to mention like today we're filming this and it's his last day of school forever, which brought up a lot of feelings for me that I didn't know I had, and I had so much to process from all these years, like through kindergarten to school. It's been 12 years of school, and he had some years in kindergarten as well, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was rough. That's a lot of things going into that, like meetings. Normally kids look forward to starting school. Adrian was like, no, I hate this, do not like. Yeah, so it was basically a struggle getting him to school, for a lot of years. Um, but I mean, he's grown a lot. He has his things he struggled with as well. He is very happy today that it's his last day of school. He's going to be celebrating. He's getting a new handheld vacuum that he ordered, so he's going to be vacuuming. He's very excited about that. So, some things to look forward to there. Yeah, I felt like we were skipping ahead a bit there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
just
you want to share some of your, challenges that
yeah.
you experienced through the school years.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that the normal school system isn't really built for, any child basically. And especially not someone with autism. He has been in like special units at like normal functioning schools, which of course has been the best option for him. But still, there's some lacks in what he would have needed basically, and it's been a journey working towards that, and like there's a lot of things he didn't really need to learn, and there's a lot of things he did need to learn. Like we're very much about feelings and expressing and these things, which is a challenge for him. But the school is more like, no, let's do these little tasks about his language and these things, and he's like what do you call it, fluent in English.
Mm-hmm.
So picked up from a young age. He even has all the
Well, probably add into you're Norwegian.
yeah, I'm Norwegian. Yeah, we're Norwegian living in Norway.
They'd be like, of course he's fluent in English.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, but he picked up that from a very young age. Like he had the what do you call that? He would have the UK, parts like different kind of dialects
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and yeah, and he yeah picked that up like it was nothing basically.
What about like detailed challenges, like experiences that you had? Because that's like a synopsis of,
Yeah, I just feel like
yeah,
different things are coming to me, so I'm just
yeah.
like as we
Mhm.
go. Different challenges. Let me think. Um, yeah, for instance, the first thing that comes up is the school was very he wore diapers for a long time because there
Mm.
was some challenges with a caretaker that pressured him a lot, which made everything turn because he was doing great with the training for all these things, but then it kind of like he shut down in that area because he was pressured and she wasn't very nice about it.
Mm.
And the school was also like, well, we don't want to be changing diapers basically, so he's got to be wearing that, and that became a big struggle. Like he became so like closed off in that area in terms of like he developed a lot of medical issues,
Mm.
had to go to the hospital even for these things, right? Like, and this is just with things like what the school and caretakers didn't listen to, which he needed more time. He eventually came out of diapers, and we're good, right? But he's still struggling with some of these things from those times, right? Medical issues, basically. So we're working on
Yeah, so the caretakers, they didn't apply compassion and
no,
patience,
no.
which created a lot of issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically this specific caretaker, she was wanting to fix him, basically, which is there's not really something to be fixed if you're a caretaker or a parent, or even any sort of way working with people with autism. Patience, lots of it.
Hmm.
I don't know where all my patience came from. I just developed a whole lot. So it's just necessary. And like kind of like you have to just walk with it, right?
Hmm.
Like there's going to be so many things that you have to think like outside the box on, because it's not going to be the same thing as with neurotypical kids, right? Um, so it's a different way. You just gotta pull out a different toolbox basically.
Hmm.
And yeah, and compassion, as you said as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it seems like as you say that, it's more of just finding out what works and what doesn't work.
yeah,
And every single person, if they're on the spectrum, is going to be completely different from the next. There might be some similarities,
yeah.
but you've really got to be present with
Mhm.
and get to know what works for them and what doesn't. And they're going to tell you, whether it's through body language,
Mhm.
it's mannerisms, maybe there's verbal communication. In some way they're going to let you know, I don't like that and I do like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whether they have, communication skills or not, right? Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, and I find that as you talk about that, one thing it seems to, be a thing for most people with autism, not saying everyone, but it's kind of like routine. Routine is very supportive. If you know what you're going to do, if you know what comes next, right, it's going to be much easier, much more supportive. So, I mean, from Adrian was very young, he used like these pictogram cards, like different ones. There were, black and white ones, or, in color with different situations on it. This is what's next. This is what's next. And, he could always reference to that. Okay, I know what's next. So he
Mm.
feels, and this is the same if we're doing things now. He needs some preparation, like, okay, tomorrow we're going to be doing this, and he's like, okay. If you just would be to like come right before you're doing it, he'd be like, no, no, not doing that, no, not going to get me out of there, right? So yeah, so routine and like that preparedness, being, as people with autism often, are very visual, having that in front of
Mhm.
them, either it's like a written out schedule, or with pictures.
Yeah.
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 And yeah, what comes up for me next is like social situations.
Mm.
That's been a big challenge, you can say.
Mhm.
um, I mean, when he was younger, like family gatherings, different kind of typical weddings, baptisms, and stuff like that, I would just be running. You wouldn't see me in a picture because I'd just be running because he would be running. So, and like we were never in the. Once I was like having to ask, maybe I asked my dad, could you just Photoshop me in here? Because like we're not. It doesn't look like we've been present at all. But also a thing with these gatherings or just out and about is like people were like, "Oh wow, he's so calm. You wouldn't even think he had autism," or but they wouldn't see me being there prepping him for everything, right? I would be there, behind the scenes, almost kind of like a movie director, like
Yeah.
over here, okay, here, and they were like, "Oh, he's so well behaved," and kind of like just between me and him, he would be like almost like, I'm running off, and like, what's going on? And we were just having this like constant interaction. So you could say that's, not
Mhm.
not what you see really. So, and he really wasn't very interested in having social relationship. He's very happy with just being at home with his family and maybe a little group at school, but that's it, right? A while back he had a couple of years ago, like he had a play date with a friend, that came to our house for, a couple of hours, and that went fine, and someone else in his class was asking, "Oh, can I come home too?" And it was like, "No, I got things to do." So he was like over that. No more. He did that once, and he was fine with that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
No, I was just thinking too how, we've had family over,
Hmm.
and once he feels complete, he's complete.
Yeah.
Like, well, are you ready to go now? You
Hmm.
ready to leave? When will you be leaving? Like, he's very,
There's no filter basically. It's just like it's gonna be like, okay, when you're leaving,
yeah,
because I feel like we're complete here.
very upfront.
Yeah, and that's even visiting with people. He's like, okay, I'm done. Like, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I have to kind of give him a time frame. Okay, we're gonna stay an hour, and then he's okay with that. But he's gonna
Mhm.
be like checking in, and when there's when it's been an hour, he's like, okay, we're going now.
Mhm.
So yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got something more to share there?
No, I mean, I've just been adding my pieces
Yeah.
in as you go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
we missing anything now then? I feel like it's a bit of like a jump here and there, but it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess what comes up next is actually like how he's been, one of my biggest teachers, because he's gonna show you
Mm.
um what where you need to love yourself, basically. Where you're not, where you're weak. He's
Mhm.
gonna push on those spots. And I've experienced that a whole bunch. And teachers assistants, the best people to work with him are like very confident people who's also like flexible and has some humor. They can play around a little bit. One time he had this teacher's assistant. She was new, very like meek and like timid, and oh, like didn't want to, step on anyone's toes, and he just bulldozed her basically. I think she was crying there a couple of times. But she had to toughen up, and when she toughened up in the sense of like,
Confidence and
yeah, exactly. And when she did that, they were great together basically.
mhm.
They could function together, but he couldn't handle where she was kind of like in that uh non-confident space, so he just kind of like ran over her there.
Yeah, because he's very sensitive to that. He knows when someone, because confidence is trusting.
Mm-hmm.
When someone knows their stuff or they're coming at you from a place of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
you immediately relax into that and there's like immediate trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there's someone that's coming at Adrian and you can feel that they're uncertain of themselves, then he will lean into that. Not, of course, not in any kind of mean way or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. Just energetically, he'll lean into it
Mm-hmm.
until you have corrected yourself and loved yourself. And then you're
Yeah,
best buds.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, another just little story that came up, another teacher's assistant, that she was very insecure. She had some kind of little some skin here that she was
Hmm.
very but he would go up to her and be like, kind of like just going here, and she would be like, oh my god, kind of like just showing her that it was okay, you can love yourself
Mm,
here. But intuitively he knew that she had some issues there
mm.
basically. So very like interesting how he's like, yeah, I feel like his life purpose is very much being a teacher with just being himself.
Yeah. Just his
Because
authentic self.
yeah, because he's going to be saying the things, he's going to be doing the things. Yeah, he's not going to be holding back.
Yeah, it was just reminding me the other day, he come out of the room and was wanting to show us a funny video, but I was having some feelings and wasn't really in the place to, didn't want to yet see the video. And I let him know that I was sad. And, once I had moved through it, I was happy to see the video. And later on, he come back out and he was like, "Are you feeling better?" And then I was like, "Yes, let's see the video." And he's like, "Well, what broke you?" And
Broke you. Yeah.
but his language, it makes you laugh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's very intuitive as well. I mean, we shared the story before, the day we came into harmonious union, even
Hmm.
before we were aware, in a sense, right? We, of course, we felt the difference, but he was just, we're moving to America out of the blue. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds about right.
Hmm.
And then right after, the awareness came, and yeah, and just these things, it's very like intuitive in that way.
Yeah.
uh yeah, some years ago I was deciding to move out of the house we're in, living with a family member, and I had just made that choice within, and he's like, we're moving, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, obviously this is like,
Your walking oracle.
I know, right?
Hmm.
Very much a mirror. And if we
Hmm.
made a choice, he's like suddenly coming out of his room and like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we just made a choice on this. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How it plays out like that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very, very intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we covered everything? What do you feel like is missing here?
I don't feel like anything is missing.
Yeah, I just feel like we're
Yeah.
kind of wanting to like give a little bit of
Well, we
the,
have more
yeah,
videos to come. It doesn't
sure.
have to be all, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. This is more just like on the personal side, I
yeah.
guess. So yeah, we
Mhm.
can uh you know, end it there, and
Sure.
then we go from there.
Sounds good.
All right. Let us know if you have any questions, and I will be happy to answer to the best of our ability.
Hmm.
All right. See
Thank
you
you for
next time.
watching.
Yeah. Bye bye.